I want to start by saying that not only do I believe that access to health care is a right that all are entitled to, I've spent really most of my professional career working in that area, starting in this very room as a policy consultant to this committee 25 years ago. Maybe 30.
Would you repeat that number
No.
again? Remind me how old you are.
And so, given my work history, my history here once becoming elected, I believe that my work gives me street cred that's unparalleled, to be perfectly frank. And so given that, I want to be clear that because I ask questions about how we operationalize the bill, it should not call into question my commitment to healthcare access for all. I want to be clear about that. So what's before us today is not an issue for me of courage or personal will, but an issue of how we get it done. And I believe that as policymakers, we have a responsibility to make the language strong, comprehensive, and right. I look forward as budget chair to getting the fiscal analysis, because that's going to be critical, so I'm not going to talk about that today. But, you know, the delight is in the details. And so there are a couple of policy areas, since we're in the policy committee, that I want to get clarification, because as I think about our long and winding road to where we stand today in terms of the provision of health care to as many as we can legally, tragically, we've made some gains that I now, in my read of the language, I don't see. So I want to make sure that if they're not there, that we put them on the table to discuss, or if they're not there, that you share with me why they're not. And so let me go through my list of 4 or 5, and then whoever through the chair wants to address them might be helpful for me. First of all, consumer protections. We have a long history in California in terms of health policy and making sure that all we do, we include consumer protections. I don't understand why we would have a prohibition of electronic record keeping. That has proved great efficiencies. It's important to individuals to have access. The federal government spent a whole bunch of money mandating electronic record keeping for some of our biggest providers. So let me know if I've missed it, but I thought I read a prohibition of electronic record keeping. You know, covered California, many of us struggled with the board and kind of the appointing authority because it lacked diversity. And so when you have a board that the governor alone has the power to appoint, depending upon who the governor is, that can be complicated. And so a diverse governing board is critically important from my perspective in terms of making sure that all the needs of all of California are represented and acted upon. So what the rationale is about only the governor making the appointments as opposed to leadership of either house. The rates appear to me to be based primarily on the fee-for-service model, which again is a rollback. I think that makes it difficult for government or anyone to really try to get our arms around and control costs. So we've made the transition away from fee-for-service. It has been a painful, long, winding road. I'd like to be clear about why we've chosen to go backwards there. I think, again, from a public policy perspective, since we're in Health Committee, those are some of the questions I had really about why is it missing? Am I missing something? Is it there? And I look forward to having, in the appropriate place and time, the fiscal conversation, because I cannot, you know, ignore my responsibility as budget chair for the Senate and having a meaningful conversation about how we pay for it, in addition to all of the other critical services that residents of California come to expect from our general fund.
We're at item number 1, SB 562, Laura, due pass 2 appropriations. Call the members, please.
Hernandez.
Aye.
Hernandez, aye. Nguyen. Atkins. Atkins, aye. Leyva. Leyva, aye. Mitchell. Mitchell, aye. Monning. Monning, aye. Newman. Nelson. Nelson, no. Roth. Five to one.
Current vote count is 5 to 1. We have some absent members. We're going to place that bill on call.